What is a movie you find terrible but critics seem to love? Girl on the Third Floor. I don't understand how this giant piece of shit has 81% on Rotten Tomatoes. Sometimes B-horror movies seem to only get reviews from die-hard horror fanatics, and this pushes their scores way up. Just stopped watching about halfway through. That cum shower scene did make me laugh though. I mean, what did he expect? Crash. The Best Picture Oscar winner, for those asking. The one with Holly Hunter and James Spader? Fuck, that was terrible. The one with Thandie Newton and Don Cheadle? Fuck, that was terrible. I wouldn't call this a film critics love. It didn't win any Golden Globes, and its Oscar win is the most controversial Best Picture win of all time. Its Metacritic score is only 66. Shakespeare in Love. Yes. This. And why did it win an Academy Award over Saving Private Ryan and Life is Beautiful? I actually disagree. Really enjoyed the humor and a fairly compelling romance. Loaded cast. However, Saving Private Ryan is perhaps the best war movie of all time and head and shoulders the best movie that year, maybe that decade. So by that metric, Sil was really overrated that year. Crash. Like, I challenge you to write a more pandering movie. But impossible character arcs and junior high-level storytelling is apparently Oscar-worthy if you spend enough money on bankable actors. Edit. Yes, critics generally liked this movie. I had an assignment back in school to watch Crash. I downloaded the movie and started watching. About 45 minutes in, when James Spader started doing weird sex things, I realized that wasn't the right movie. Went into that knowing nothing about it beyond that it was a Best Picture winner. It ended up being the most obvious piece of Oscar bait I've ever seen, but simultaneously it's just so incompetently put together. The script is ridiculous and the characters are basically parodies of stereotypes. American Hustle. One of the most boring movies I have ever watched. American Hustle. Try Kung Fu Hustle instead. The Cantonese subtitles make it. I didn't love that movie, but I found the scene where Louis C.K. had to explain how Bradley Cooper assaulted him absolutely hilarious. Ralph Breaks the Internet. A disappointing sequel. This one crushed me because I absolutely love Wreck-It Ralph. The sequel was just a hot mess with too many references crammed in to appeal to the kids. Critics loved it. There's some sad person out there who's gonna use this as a movie recommendation thread. TBH, I might check out Girl on the Third Floor and Ad Astra just because I've never seen them and quarantine's got me going bonkers. Some smart person. Shawshank Redemption. No, I'm kidding. That movie is amazing. You had me all riled up for a counterattack before I read your second sentence, lol. Hey, you had me there. I was actually curious, why would anyone hate this movie? Though I've read it was hated when it first came out for portraying prisoners as people in times where criminals were very dehumanized in USA. Interesting how times and context can affect stuff. A Star is Born. I just don't get the hype. Almost no conflict in her rise to stardom, and the ending seemed so predictable the closer I came to it that I had a hard time even finishing it. It was just boring. It seems like one of those movies that anyone who's in Hollywood or has experience with any kind of stardom would enjoy romantically, but as a layman the rest of us just aren't as invested. Agreed. I also didn't think Gaga or Cooper's characters had any redeeming qualities to make me root for either one of them. Maybe I just couldn't relate, but I didn't feel anything for their characters' struggles throughout the movie. Monsters Ball was horrible but somehow won awards. Halle Berry got bubs out. It's depressing as shit, that's for sure. I genuinely think that the movie Gravity with Sandra Bullock and George Clooney is one of the worst movies that has ever hit the big screen. Would have been great had they consulted literally anyone with basic knowledge of physics when making that movie. The Greatest Showman. Like, it's about an awful person but they make him seem like a good guy, plus the script and songs and everything about it was just mediocre, so when I watched it after all the praise it got I was just disappointed. The soundtrack kinda slaps, but I absolutely hate how it glorified Barnum, who was a terrible human being. I absolutely detest that they made Jenny Lind, the only great person IRL, to be the worst person in the movie. Like she did so much good in her life, and that's how they choose to depict her? Screenwriters for that movie can go fuck right off. Shape of Water. Honestly might have been a good movie to address the way humans treat creatures, but they fucked it up by having them fall in love. Like what the actual fuck? Ah yes, fucking Nemo. Great movie. I enjoyed the movie, but the romance felt underdeveloped in a way that undermined pretty much the whole thing. The biggest problem is the fish man barely seems to be more intelligent than a creature. There's a scene where he eats one of the pet cats, and they forgive him because he's basically an animal and wouldn't know better. A few scenes later she fucks it. Happy Feet. What in the actual F? It was cute when the lead penguin was little, but then he outgrew the cute. Someone was high when they wrote Happy Feet. It's the only logical explanation. Toy Story 4. It breaks so many rules and is such an insult to the characters. The villain and her minions are really interesting, but lacks the threat of characters like Sid and the evil of Lotso. I guess that could be the point though. Kinda sad they didn't do more with her and her minions. Plus, Ducky and Bunny are more unfunny than minions. Yeah, likewise Buzz all of a sudden such an idiot. I don't remember him being that way in the previous movies. I remember seeing Toy Story 3 in theaters when it came out and I cried and was so happy with the ending of a story I grew up dearly with. Once they announced 4 and I saw the trailer, I felt betrayed almost. I still haven't seen it, and don't plan to. I will keep my story with the same ending I remember to be good. Bohemian Rhapsody. I love Queen but this movie sucks. Rocketman was fucking amazing. The critics didn't really love it. Their reception was mixed and not high. The general audience seemed to love it though. Absolutely agree, and I feel it was more a tribute to FM than an actual accurate portrayal, and with Brian May heavily involved not surprising. I can feel a tad more gentle about it knowing that they just wanted to honor FM, but I was pretty disappointed in it. On the other hand, Elton John was also very involved in Rocketman and I loved his defense at the R rating. I didn't live a PG life. Just give me a Fleetwood Mac movie and I can die happy. Bohemian Rhapsody was a great movie for people who don't know shit about Queen. Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox, guaranteed.